Welcome back to On the Beat. Isaac here again this week, and we're going to talk law once again. I have Patrick Wooten from Richard Schwartz and Associates, managing partner. Good to have you with you this morning.
Good to be back.
All right, so we're going to talk government.
Absolutely.
So a lot of bureaucracy probably
Yes.
involved here. So say you have a personal injury case against the state or federal, I guess local government too, but state and federal for sure. In this case, the ideology that suing the government's hard to do, I guess. Why is that?
It's a great question. So the government takes care of themselves first and foremost.
Yes.
So those are called, we'll start with the state. State of Mississippi, it's the same thing for the county, for a city. It's called a Tort Claims Act case, 1-year statute. So they've already shortened the time in which you could sue them from a normal 3 years in Mississippi to 1.
Okay.
And you have to file a very detailed pre-suit memo is the best way to describe it, where you outline basically the whole theory, your damages of the case. Then they get to review that for a period of time before you can even file your lawsuit.
Oh, so
and it's uber technical. If you miss any one step, your case is dead in the water.
Really? Just automatically thrown out, dismissed before we ever even get to a potential
Correct.
trial?
It's automatically door shut, over, you're not going to be able to
So one T, not cross, that's it?
That's exactly right.
Wow, that's good to know. So if you are hurt by a government worker, let's say in a car crash, for example, why do you need an attorney?
Yeah, it's really important, and that does happen surprisingly more often than you think.
Sure.
But it's because of all those very technical steps that are needed that you have to follow, that you've got to have an attorney. A normal person is just not going to be able to do it on their own because of the format of what you have to submit, who you have to submit it to. It can be extremely confusing as to who you have to give notice to. You would think, oh, John Smith hit me, I'll have to give notice to John Smith. No, you have to give it to the agency that he works for, potentially the Attorney General for the state of Mississippi.
And is there an order, I guess, that you have to file this in too, I guess, right?
Yeah,
with the people?
Exactly.
Okay.
And get them. It's got to be certified so that you have notice. Then a clock starts running from the date they're served with how many days. Then you can file suit. So very, very difficult.
A mess. So if you were to be somehow successful and you are collecting money, who are you collecting from if you are successful in the case?
And that's the big thing. Like if you're suing the state of Mississippi, you collect from the state.
Okay.
I've actually had cases that I've personally handled against the Department of Transportation where MDOT vehicle hit another car, and you're going before the commissioners of MDOT to have them approve the settlement. So it's tax dollars that are paying, for that settlement. So there's a cap involved. The state's got to approve the amount of the settlement. So again, that's why it's so necessary to have Schwartz and Associates.
And a little sidebar question: who, like, the state determines the amount, or like you determine the amount, or how does that work in that situation?
Yeah, so all state departments have legal counsel that works for them. Generally, they're all from the Attorney General's office, and they're assigned to the various departments. So you're going to negotiate with that attorney who's representing, MDOT or one of the other state organizations, like you would with an attorney for an insurance company or an insurance adjuster.
For another party.
For their part. Needless to say, state's a little tight. Doesn't want to give away a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So it's more challenging sometimes to try to get fair market value. So that's why you got to have a law firm.
When would a case go like to a federal level, for example? Because you've been talking about the state of Mississippi.
Yeah. Federal, the one that we see all the time is the U.S. Postal Service.
Okay.
You fall in the U.S. Postal Service, or you get hit by a Postal Service van. It's a 2-year statute instead of a 1-year statute. And again, there's a very specific form you have to file before you can ever proceed. And the weird thing is they have to deny it. So you file your notice. You have to wait for them to deny the claim before
basically
you can
plead not guilty before they plead not guilty kind of thing.
Before you can go file suit.
All right, so you kind of answered that, but any other specific cases you can pursue against the government?
Yeah, I mean, certainly not just MDOT for the state or any state agency, but federally, the U.S. Postal Service. Mississippi, we have a lot of National Guard soldiers.
Okay.
I was in the Guard, but if you were driving, and let's say a military vehicle struck you, that's a federal case.
Gotcha.
So that you have to follow as well. Or someone who Or you're on the Natchez Trace, and a Natchez Trace officer happens to hit you. That's a federal case. So it's really, you have to get in the weeds to figure out, is it a state person, is it a federal person, or is it, did Isaac run into me and it's just a Joe citizen?
Just a lowly Joe citizen.
Not a lowly, very important, but a Joe citizen claim, 3-year statute, completely different set of rules.
Oh, Patrick, just some great information there. We sure appreciate it. Wish we could talk all day about it. If you need any additional information, the information is listed on your screen, and we'll be back after this.